The town of Willowbrook was always alive with the sound of car horns, chatter, and footsteps. People rushed to work, children hurried to school, and everyone seemed too busy to notice anyone else. Among this sea of strangers was a boy named Ethan Miller, just 12 years old. Ethan wasn't like other kids his age. While many of his classmates thought about video games and new sneakers, Ethan often thought about his mother. She worked 2 jobs, one at a diner and another cleaning offices late at night just to make ends meet. His father had left years ago, and since then, Ethan had tried to be the man of the house, even though he was still a child himself. That afternoon, Ethan was walking home from school. His backpack was heavy, his shoes were worn out, and his stomach growled with hunger. As he approached the busy intersection at Main Street, he noticed something unusual. An old woman with a cane stood at the edge of the crosswalk. Her frail body trembled with every attempt to step forward. The traffic was relentless, and the crowd around her pushed past without a second glance. People were too absorbed in their phones or too impatient to stop. Ethan slowed down. He watched her for a moment. She looked terrified, stranded in a world that was moving too fast. His mother's voice echoed in his head. If you ever see someone struggling, don't turn away. Be the one who helps. Taking a deep breath, Ethan walked over. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said softly. "Would you like some help crossing?" The woman looked up at him, her pale blue eyes filling with relief. "Oh, thank you, dear. I didn't think anyone would notice me." Ethan offered his arm. Slowly, carefully, he guided her across the street. Cars came to a halt as drivers watched the small boy lead the fragile woman through the chaos. By the time they reached the other side, the woman's eyes were wet with gratitude. "What's your name, son?" she asked Ethan. He said shyly. She smiled warmly. "You're a kind boy, Ethan. Don't ever lose that." Ethan grinned, waved goodbye, and hurried home, not thinking much of it. To him, it was just the right thing to do. A week later, life went back to normal, or so Ethan thought. Days passed, and he forgot all about the old woman. Until one evening, a sleek black car pulled up in front of his rundown apartment building. A man in a suit stepped out and knocked on their door. Ethan's mother, startled, opened it. "Can I help you?" she asked cautiously. "I'm here for Ethan Miller," the man said politely. Ethan came forward nervously. "That's me." The man smiled. "Mrs. Thompson would like to see you." Confused, Ethan and his mother got into the car. It drove them to a sprawling mansion on the edge of town, with gates taller than anything Ethan had ever seen. The house looked like something out of a movie. Grand gardens, marble steps, and windows that sparkled in the sunlight. Inside, sitting near a fireplace, was the same old woman from the street. Except now, she didn't look fragile. She looked elegant, her silver hair tied neatly, her dress perfectly tailored, and her presence commanding. "Ethan," she said warmly, "I wanted to see you again." He blinked in surprise. You live here?" She chuckled. "Yes. My name is Margaret Thompson. I'm the widow of Henry Thompson, the founder of Thompson Enterprises. Perhaps you've heard of it." Ethan's mother gasped. Everyone in Willowbrook knew that Nemit was the richest family in the county. Margaret continued. "The day you helped me cross the street, I had been sitting there for nearly 15 minutes. Dozens of people walked by. Not one stopped. Except you." Ethan shifted nervously. "It wasn't a big deal. I just thought you needed help." "That's exactly why it was a big deal," Margaret said with a smile. The fortunate week later, Ethan's mother received a letter. Her hands trembled as she read it out loud. Mrs. Thompson had officially added Ethan's name to her will. She had no children or family to inherit her wealth, and after their encounter, she had decided that Ethan's kindness was more valuable than bloodlines. The letter revealed that Ethan was now entitled to a significant portion of her fortune. At first, Ethan and his mother were in shock. They had always lived paycheck to paycheck, sometimes skipping meals when money ran out. Now, their lives would never be the same. But more than the money, what touched Ethan's heart was the reason behind it. Margaret believed that a boy who could stop and help a stranger had the heart to do something meaningful with her legacy. Years later, Ethan didn't waste the gift. He used part of the inheritance to buy his mother a home where she could finally rest after years of struggle. But he didn't stop there. With Margaret's guidance, Ethan set up a foundation dedicated to helping both children and the elderly, those who were often forgotten by society. He visited the foundation often, greeting children, listening to their stories, and making sure the elderly were never left standing at a street corner alone. Whenever people asked him why he devoted his life to this cause, Ethan would smile and say, "Because once, when I was just a boy, I helped an old woman cross the street. That moment changed everything. Kindness is never wasted, it always finds its way back to you. Moral of the story: never underestimate the power of a small act of kindness. What may feel like a simple gesture to you can mean the world to someone else, and sometimes it comes back in ways you could never imagine.